Hi everyone, and welcome back. Now we are on the next challenge statement, which is on seeking technologies for supply chain management. So I'm going to run through some of the outline for the benefit of the new attendees. So the session is 30 minutes, and Mr. Sasaki-san from Sumitomo will be sharing for 15 minutes for startups to better understand what is Sumitomo's proposal, the motivation for the statement, the desired outcomes, and the expectations for startups. And then the following 15 minutes will be a Q&A session. And we'd like to encourage all participants and attendees to take this opportunity to send in your queries so that this session can also help you to better refine and for you to submit your proposal for the deadline that is due on 15 September. And if there are questions that you'd like to ask, you can type in the Q&A function to make sure that you get your queries covered. All participants' microphones and video cameras have been muted and disabled. So I'd like to invite back Mr. Sasaki-san to share about the challenge statement of seeking technologies for supply chain management. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone again. For those who newly attended, we are PT Monotaro Indonesia. We do B2B e-commerce in Indonesia. Yes, then let's move to the topic. Okay, so this time is supply chain management. Let me explain the background. So in Indonesia, supply chain is not really as strong as other, maybe Singapore. Yeah, so that's why, and sometimes, supply chain is not really smooth. For example, so since we have millions of items that we are selling on our website, and sometimes we got order from customer, then we order the supplier, then supplier says it's out of stock. Sometimes it's happening, even though we confirmed before we confirmed. So if we order to you and you will deliver your goods to within how many days, but it's sometimes the beyond the committed lead time. It's happening because there are many small suppliers. Suppliers are like traders or distributors, and I believe they operate their operation, buy and sell and stock, how to keep stock, those systems very manually. So that's why if there's a service that enable those distributors or even sometimes principals, enable them to track, to manage their, especially stock. Yeah, especially how to keep stock, how to manage those stock. When, yeah, if there's a software that can in us. And we are a considerably big entity, so that's why we have a warehouse, and we have the WMS, warehouse management system already. So that's why we are smoothly managing our stock, stock items. Yeah. So if other suppliers are also able to smoothly manage their stock, then the supply chain will be very smoothly. That eventually that benefit will go to customer. So that's why we are very seeking those services, not for us, but for those suppliers. And we are very happy to help to build those systems if someone is very interested in. Chamin?
Sorry, I think the connection isn't very good. Maybe you can repeat the last section so that everyone here can better understand.
Oh, sorry about that. The last part. Okay, so yeah, so as I explained, the challenges in supply chain Indonesians, they are sometimes not really efficiently manage their stock. So let's say today they have 10 quantity as a stock, then the supplier got 2 orders from one buyer and 3 orders from different buyer or different channel, then it's going to be very difficult for them to manage. So if there is a software to enable them to manage easily those situations, then that's gonna generate very huge benefit to the customer eventually. So that's why we are seeking those service for our supply. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks for the sharing, Mr. Sasaki-san. Now we'd like to invite questions, and a gentle reminder that you can put in your questions in the Q&A panel below, and then we will follow up to answer. So we would prefer questions that are directly related to the challenge statement, so that Mr. Sasaki-san can also take the opportunity to make some of the clarifications as it can better help in your proposal submission. So we can wait a while for the questions to come in. Okay, we've got the first question regarding the ownership of the system. So the party would like to know who will own the system.
I think this system is going to be SaaS, software as a service, so like cloud basis, something like that. So maybe the provider owns the service in cloud, then those SMEs, small medium enterprise, those distributors or traders, they can use that service by cloud basis, I believe. I think that's the smooth way.
Thank you, Mrs. Sasaki-san.
I think sooner or later, this kind of software will appear in anywhere. So, yeah, thanks.
Okay, another question is that whether the supplier would then need to pay to use the service.
I think so. Yeah, to be clear, we are not the intent to, to provide service as monotone service, not like that way. As long as I think. So maybe there will be one, then those users, those service provider, I think.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Has Sumitomo evaluated any off-the-shelf inventory management solutions?
evaluated.
And whether there have been considerations for these solutions already, and if not, then what would be the differentiating factor to then get a startup to propose the solution?
Okay. Well, I'm not sure about Sumitomo again, actually, because we are PT Monotaro Indonesia. Yeah, one of the Sumitomo group, but yeah, as long as I know, PT Monotaro Indonesia itself, shelf inventory management. Yes, we do have. It's a warehouse, WMS, warehouse management system. Yeah, and yeah, you're right. There are so many those kind of softwares in the market, but the thing is, can very small user can very, let's say, very small distributor use that service or not, like that? Like for example, Oracle has the WMS service, I believe, or IBM, or many big players. But I think the license fee is very not acceptable for very small entities. And also, as long as I know, in Japan, there are a lot of softwares like that for SME users, small, medium enterprise. So like monthly, very few dollars, like $100, $50, $100 to use that service, because it's cloud basis, no need huge investment. I think that kind of software is now needed in Indonesia.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Sasaki-san. For those that have asked questions, and if you all would also want to seek more clarifications, you can also feel free to input your questions into the Q&A panel.
I believe in Singapore, there are quite a few those kind of softwares already, I believe. What do you think, Jonathan?
Yes, there are those, like, as you mentioned, the cloud service providers. Yeah, they have those cloud solutions, especially catered for the SMEs. Yes. However, I understand your requirements. I think I recall during our discussion, you mentioned that there's a preference for you to be able to coordinate with your suppliers, so there may be some integration with your backend system as well, right?
Yeah, that's the best, but not to the level. Yeah, even just a service that those SME entities can use. That's great enough for us. But the best is, of course, if the software is connected to our ERP or WMS, and the data exchange is seamlessly, we can do the data exchange. That would be the great. But yeah, not that level. Yeah, even just the software that enables those small entities to efficiently manage their stock. That's very, very good enough. So in Japan, there are many those softwares for small entities, but mostly for e-commerce users. Small entities who sells goods in the internet as a e-commerce player. But the one I'm talking about now is distributors or traders who sell sometimes in the internet, like Tokopedia or Monotaro. Sometimes they sell manually. I mean, manually means with an analog, traditional way, like they meet the customer and make the quotation and make it a deal, and the issue the invoice, that kind of process. Yeah, for those who do the traditional transaction, yeah, there are. So that's why for those traders or distributors, or sometimes principal, they have. I believe they are having hard time to manage, because sometimes they get order by Tokopedia or e-commerce. Sometimes they get order by phone call, WhatsApp, or just customer come to their place, their shop. So that makes them very omni-channel transaction makes their management stock management operation difficult.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Saki-san. Okay, seems like we can wrap up already because there are no more questions. So for those who would like to join in for the next session, then we will start promptly at 5 o'clock. And in the meantime, if there are any questions, you can just proceed to send in to the inquiry email at tcc2020@enterprisesg.gov.sg. Okay, sorry, let's hold back. There's actually one more question. Whether if there are two cost components for the solution, a monthly subscription for usage, and as well as a base initial cost for integration of the ERP and WMS, whether this would be an acceptable solution.
Yeah. I believe the monthly subscription is better, but this is just my opinion. But I believe, for those small entities, they are not planning to use the huge investment on it. So integration of ERP needs initial investment, which is heavy for those small entities. Yeah, but if it's a subscription model, no need any installation or no need any initial investment, just subscribe. I think that's better for them to start. Like $10, $20 per month, like that kind of range, I think. Yeah, then customer, so those entities, as a customer, they don't really need to make a lot of effort in terms of money and also effort of its integration and so on.
Okay. There's also another part about whether since the ERP and the WMS would be with the Monetaro group, but not with your suppliers.
The articles that I'm displaying and what I explain now, it has a little bit difference. Yeah, so ERP and WMS. Well, we have our own ERP or WMS to manage our stock operation. Yeah, but what I'm now saying is if there's a service like software for those small entities like distributors or traders, they can use that kind of software. So
Sasaki-san, I think the requester David is asking whether if there's this. I mean, if that proposal enables the solution to have integration with your ERP and WMS on the back end, in addition to providing the cloud-based service to the small suppliers, is that, would it be acceptable for additional costs?
Yeah. I think that's there are two phases, and now we are talking about this phase 2. So phase 1 is for those small entities. Those small entities start to use that kind of software service to allow them to do efficient operation. And the phase 2 will be since we are one of the customer from their perspective. So phase 2 will be integration or something, API integration or some kind of integration between the software that those small entities have and the one we have. Yeah, in that case, I'm not sure about the cost components. I have to ask the IT, but maybe we can discuss deeper after this maybe.
So for the person who asked the question, you can also send it to tcc2020@enterprisesg.gov.sg, and we will help to follow up with it. So we can proceed to wrap up, and we can come back again for the next challenge statement, which would be on seeking technologies for automated category allocation. And that would be at 5 p.m. Thanks, everyone.